So I actually feel really bad about being up here. When I agreed to do the speech, I should have never agreed to do the speech because, frankly, speeches make me really nervous, and I just didn't want to give a speech. So when I sat down to write the speech, I found myself getting really just discombobulated. I got a headache, and I got a fever, and I started sweating. And, well, as I started to write more and more of my speech, I started feeling some shooting down my arm. And I had to call 911, and they had to rush me to the hospital. Well, they did all kinds of tests on me. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. They did all kinds of tests like MRIs and CAT scans, and I took a Scantron and an LSAT and an SAT. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. They did a battery of tests, and I think they even tested the batteries because they couldn't find anything wrong. Finally, they asked me, "Well, did you have anything to drink today?" And I said, "Well, just water." So they asked me to get a sample of that water. So I asked my girlfriend to go by my apartment, bring back some water. They ran some tests on that water, and it turns out the water had too much dihydrogen monoxide in it, that's crazy. You know, it's just water. So but apparently I had dihydrogen monoxide poisoning, and this is really bad. This is really bad to get. They had to remove all kinds of stuff. I was rushed to surgery. They took out parts of my liver. They took out parts of my spleen, my gallbladder, my lungs, something called my frontal cortex. They took out even my carburetor. Who knows why? But turns out I was fine, even though none of you even called. So they finally let me out of the hospital yesterday, which happened to be St. Patrick's Day, which meant that I had to go out and get a little buzzed at the bars. And I may have gone a little bit overboard. I started with some Guinness, and then I went on, and I forgot that it was St. Patty's Day, and I had some tequila. And long story short, I woke up on some lawn in Goleta. And Goleta's about 10 miles from my house, so I had to get home somehow. I lost my wallet, so I didn't have any money, and I didn't know anybody, so I couldn't make a phone call, so I just had to run home, which normally would have been fine because I am in excellent shape. I've never been to the hospital even, except that I am wearing flip-flops. So it took me about 4 hours to get home. As soon as I got home, even though I had a hangover about this big, I said, you know what, I need to write my speech. So I dashed to my laptop, and I hurriedly wrote out my speech and printed it out. But just as I grabbed the speech from my printer, the printer caught on fire, lighting the curtains on flames, and eventually my entire apartment. I ran outside as quickly as I could, and the firemen stood there dousing the flames. I thought, I can still salvage this, so I pulled out the speech that I grabbed from the printer, and I began to read the speech when a dog ran up and grabbed the speech from my hands. This was horrible. I guess you could say a dog ate my homework. Quite literally. Because I have the speech, I was able to get it back. It's okay though, I have an excellent memory, so I'm able to remember the speech. Unfortunately, this afternoon, my boss called, and he said, our most important client has a problem with his computer. I need you to get out there now. Apparently this client had soldered his vacuum tubes to his motherboard wrong, and his windows were cloudy. So I had to go out there. This guy's in New York though, so 2 hours ago I got on a flight to New York, and that's where I am right now. So I'm very sorry to announce at the last moment that I will not be able to participate in today's Tall Tales speech. I wish the other competitors the best of luck.